Her Majesty the Queen of Rodeo joins us on this episode of We're No Damn Experts. Jody Rempel talks all things rodeo queening and what you need to know beyond the crown, sash, and boots. Coming up.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you wanna go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebacca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth.
And we're No Damn Experts. Today, in the studio with us is someone I've known for some years, had no clue the extent of what she was capable of knowing until we did a podcast with her brilliant spouse.
Yes.
And so I'm extremely excited to visit with Jody, first time on the podcast, who's going to talk to us about rodeo queening, if that's even
Is
the right
that a verb?
word.
It's a thing.
Did I say
Is,
it right?
is rodeo queening a term?
Yes,
Verbiage?
of course.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Don't
Absolutely.
question my expertise
No,
in
I
this
like it.
area. Jody can. But I do.
I was confirming with the expert. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
thank you.
word. Yeah.
I wanted that to happen as well. So welcome, Jody. Is this your first podcast?
It's my first podcast, so
Oh.
thank you. I'm excited to be here and introduce you to the world of rodeo queening.
Yeah.
Did you listen to Gary's episode?
Of course I did.
So you
Of
got
course
a
I did.
rundown of the craziness you're to expect talking to the two of us.
Yes, and if you want to refer to me as Your Majesty, that's
Okay.
fine with me
Okay.
as well.
That's great. That is.
I'm sorry, we didn't bow when she walked in. How
Well,
rude.
she didn't have her
She's
crown.
not wearing the
Just
crown,
kidding.
so
She didn't
yeah.
even bring it in a case like Mrs. Montana
Oh, that's
did.
true. Yeah, Mrs. Montana brought her crown and sash with her.
Well,
of
that's-
course,
So then
she's
we knew.
currently reigning, so she also had
That's
her
not the
heels.
point.
So yeah,
I'm going to start carrying my own crown in my own little case.
Yes, and you know, a wand to wave
Yeah.
Oh,
is
is the wand
Totally goes.
technically a whip for the horse? It just kind of doubles
no,
as
just a
both?
wand.
Okay.
You can do magic things with
Oh,
it.
okay.
So it's always good. We
Good.
should always, all of us should carry a little wand around
Oh,
with us.
I
I
agree.
like that.
Yeah.
I have a crystal ball on my desk, which
That
is
counts.
kind of.
Yeah.
Is it
Similar.
invisible? I don't think I've ever seen it.
No, it's not invisible,
Oh.
Shannon. It's a crystal. It's clear.
Oh. Clear, not invisible.
Two different things.
Now I want to look for it. Clearly, I don't wander into your office very often. Yeah.
So, Jody, what happened in your life where you ended up becoming an expert on queen competitions, rodeo queen competitions?
Well, that sounds a little dubious,
Doesn't it?
really.
Your Majesty?
But you know, sometimes I wonder. Don't we all kind of wonder how did we
How
end
we ended up
Yeah.
here. Yes.
The number of times I was helping sew shirts for rodeo queen competitors, I often questioned, how did I end up here?
That's
How
right.
did you
That's
end
right.
up
You do,
there?
You have
What?
that
Yeah.
connection. I
Like, there were
remember
moments I
that.
was sewing these shirts onto their bodies. There was no way to take them off besides the seam ripper.
I have so
So-
many questions.
Ouch.
When did you sew rodeo queen outfits onto humans?
In college.
Oh,
It was
Okay.
an unpaid internship because of the people I chose to live with. And one of them's mom was
Sounds like more of a hazing ritual.
yeah, right. This is what you get for living with us.
well, that and when they learn, oh, you know how to sew? Perfect.
Oh,
Let's get
yeah,
this
maybe
done.
don't share that.
But the only benefit was one of my roommates' moms was a school cook. And so this is probably illegal and it's past the statute of limitations, so we're fine. But she would steal like the pre-made chocolate chip cookie dough pucks and brings us bags of those. So we just always had chocolate chip cookie dough.
Oh.
at the
Good
Ready.
trade.
That's
Good trade.
wonderful.
So I was like, well, since your mom does bring us those
She
chocolate
sneaks
chip
in cookies.
I'll do some sewing for
I don't
you.
know if she stole them from the school, if she bought them and brought them to us. It does not
Maybe
matter.
she wrote it down somewhere so it counted and just hit
Yeah.
the note.
So I was like, okay, but yeah.
Okay. I did not know your past in sewing rodeo queen outfits.
Yep.
Hmm.
It was a great time in my life.
Did you ever sew something onto Jody?
No.
Okay.
No, nothing.
But I
Nothing sewn onto
think
me. But you don't just fall into rodeo queening.
No.
It's kind of
It-
something you decide.
yeah,
You decide what to do.
there's definitely a trajectory that you end up
There's
on
a-
where all of
there's
a
a
sudden you're
path.
like, okay.
There's a path. For most young women, I believe, it starts, is the horse crazy young girl. That's usually
Yeah.
where it starts.
That makes
Mhm.
sense.
Is your horse crazy young girl. I didn't come from a rodeo or ranching background per se. But when I was around the age of 10 and my father was retiring, my family was going to move to the state of Washington where my mother was from. And of course, when you're 10 years old, the last thing you want to do is move away from your
Yeah.
friends and
Sure.
your family.
It's gotta be
and all-
life ending.
Yeah, it was, yes.
World
Yeah, and it-
dramatic.
rumbling
I
around
made my
me.
displeasure known.
Well done,
Yeah.
So
Jody.
the carrot to entice me to have a more favorable outlook on the whole move thing was, we'll get you a horse.
Oh,
We'll get you a horse
that
when
would have
we
done
move
it for
out there.
me.
We'll
Yeah.
get you a horse.
Mhm.
And I'm sure they thought they probably weren't going to get a horse,
Yeah.
but that's the first thing we did.
Yeah.
Good.
Got the ranch.
Held him to it.
Got the ranch, got a horse.
Yeah.
And so then, from there, it's, then I had a neighbor and we rode all day long every day. And then she said, well, there's this drill team, an equestrian drill team. Let's join that. So next thing you know, we're in that. I'm in 4-H. And, I think that's kind of the progression for a lot of girls is it's either you have that rodeo or ranching background, you're involved in rodeo, you're involved in 4-H or FFA, and you get involved with your horses, you get involved with horse activities and start going to clubs and rodeos and play days and you see that there's more things you can do with your horses and ways to meet other young ladies who have the same aspirations you do. And then you see the beautiful rodeo queens riding in the arena and then that's where you set your goals on someday being a rodeo queen.
Were you ever interested in trick riding? Because that's another direction. That's
Ooh.
another path you could end up taking.
That is, and I was not there where I grew up. There was not trick riding, so I really was not exposed to that at a young age. I think had I been, I definitely would have gone that route because I was interested I was in gymnastics.
You could do
Oh.
it now.
So I-
just go for it now.
That's a hard no.
Wow.
Well, Gary's
Not much for ideas around here that are going to be accepted.
Gary's retiring, right? So he can be your guardian, just follow you around while you learn to trick
Yeah,
ride.
the idea of hanging sideways off of a horse is no at this point in my life. But yes, that would have been fun as well.
Well,
Yeah.
and the rodeo queen serves as kind of this great ambassador to rodeo. They're not just the absolute gorgeous halftime or intermission entertainment that come through with the flags for all of our sponsors.
Right.
They do a lot for the sport.
They do. And I think, most girls, they end up, it's kind of like its own program where you go to clinics and, many girls go to lots of clinics in preparation for entering their first competition. And you learn all the things that go into making a rodeo. You learn all of the rules and regulations and how all of the events are done. And then that helps you to become a better representative of not only the sport of rodeo, but then, of course, the Western way of life. And I think for most of us, that's really what we're all passionate about, is representing that Western way of life and the values and traditions of the West and
Yeah.
living a ranching lifestyle, farming ranching lifestyle, and all of those values that go along with it. And so, yes, they're very much, not just a representative, but they're a spokesperson for the sport and for those Western values that we all hold so dear, especially here in Great Falls and anywhere in Montana.
So if I remember correctly from our conversation with Gary, somehow you two met in the rodeo world because you did finally achieve that big crown on top of your hat and were a rodeo queen.
I was.
What were all the titles you've gotten to hold?
I had 2 local titles before I went on to be Miss Rodeo Washington. The equestrian drill team that I told you about, I was their queen at a young age, so that was fun. And then after that, I became the OMAC Stampede Queen, OMAC Washington, and then went on to become Miss Rodeo Washington. So, yes, and through that whole process, you come in contact with other gals who are doing the same thing, and you travel in the same circles, and it really is a lot of fun. You get to do a lot of traveling, but there's also, so much, public speaking appearances. We'd call it the rubber chicken circuit because you.
We call it the what do we call it? We call it the dog and pony.
Yes, that too. Yeah.
The full name, Dog and Pony Show.
I've heard that term before used for lots of things.
Yes.
What's the rubber chicken
the
circle or whatever you
rubber
said?
chicken circuit is going to all of the civic organization luncheons
sure.
and speaking to them, the
the dog and pony show,
Rotary, the chamber,
gotcha.
all those.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of those as a rodeo queen, but it really helps your public speaking
for sure.
You really develop all those skills doing a lot of luncheons.
I think it sounds better than the dog and pony.
Yeah,
because I really did just shorten it.
Well, they usually serve chicken, so
so that's not good.
It's kind of rubbery.
I joined. I was a long time ago. I was part of a social organization that I was the youngest member of by many, many, many years, and they met on Mondays, and I always called it Soft Food Monday.
Oh no!
Because nothing they served did you have to chew. And I know that's awful, but when you're with a bunch of 70-year-old men, it's probably a good plan to not have a lot of chewing involved.
Wow.
Can you relate?
I'm trying to guess what organization that is.
Could be a
there was one other person, and I was not married at the time, but there was one other person about my age, gentleman, and the older heritage members of the social group, which were every one of them, were like, when are you two gonna start having babies to get kids in the school? And I'm like with each
it's
other,
your responsibility
we're both
to
looking at each other
school.
with each other, I think he's still engaged. You're still engaged to Kristen, right? I don't want to.
Yeah.
My gosh.
I'm good, thanks.
He goes, well, you're of the age. I'm like, no, we're good.
You're of the age. You two are here, so clearly populate the school.
I'm really wondering what kind of a club this was.
She's also from a very small town in northern Montana, so if that helps.
I've got lots of stories, but I'll start my own podcast.
Hey.
Yes.
So you go to speak at a lot of luncheons. Do you share, what does the rodeo queen talk about on these rubber chicken circuits?
Well, you talk about the things that you're passionate about. Rodeo, the sport of rodeo. If you're representing a local rodeo, you're going to talk about who the contestants are that are going to be coming to your rodeo. We've got, the top rated calf roper in the world is going to be coming to our event. You talk about that sport, but you also talk about the Western values that you have and the things that we love about the West. And, most cowgirls, and so that would include the rodeo queens.
Yeah.
They're kind of the get it done kind of people. I mean, you can count on them to get whatever it is done. I mean, they're not afraid to do it, to put on their muck boots and their T-shirts and a ball cap and go out and muck stalls or walk through the sloppy, muddy field to wrangle some horses or brand a calf, they're used to just getting a job done because they have those sets of values. And so I think, a lot of times they end up speaking about those types of things, what it's like to live on a ranch or work on a ranch, and be involved in the sport of rodeo.
Did you find, let me just clarify for the audience, I'm not a cowgirl. I've never been in my own rodeo queening competition, but I did grow up on a ranch. So there is that component. But what I find is, even if there's, maybe you find it as well, even people who are near the Western lifestyle or ranches or the ag component of an area, there's still so much they don't understand. That's what I found, because Montana is a relatively rural state with 1 million people. 60,000 people live in Great Falls. I grew up in a town of 4 people.
Told you, small.
There's people in Great Falls that don't understand. And you would think with it being so close to that, even though they're lived here, they don't really necessarily get the whole gamut.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that separation between city and country, even in Montana, even in Great Falls, a very agriculture area of Montana, yes, that is still true. And I think that is why, especially here, that rodeo queen that can bridge that gap and be the connection between city and country is very important, because they, the kids naturally gravitate towards rodeo queens. I don't know if you've noticed that before, but they're like magnets. Rodeo queens, it's something I think built into the crown that just little kids
magnets.
Yeah.
And they want the autographs. They want to touch the hair. They want to
everything.
Smile it's
but it also
royalty.
Gives that rodeo queen that opportunity to have an influence on those kids and to share those things about our lifestyle, our Western lifestyle, with them. For example, come and pet my horse. Would you like to meet my horse? This is my horse. His name is Rocky. And you can pet him. Go ahead, and talk to them about, well, this is a saddle. This is a bridle. This is how we do this.
Do you clean your room when your mom asks? That's a good girl.
It's important to have integrity.
Yeah. And I think it also then, it just furthers that, that admiration that the children have then to this figure that is the rodeo queen. That, she's beautiful and she's talented, but she knows everything about horses and rodeo and then shares that with us. So, yeah, absolutely. I think they're there to help bridge that gap between city and country.
So what is the path then? We talked about yours, you had 1 different levels, but, I think most people are familiar with like the Miss USA, Miss America, where you have the bathing suit and the competition, the evening gown and the interviews and all of that. What are the steps and skill areas and things for becoming? Is there an evening gown or bathing suit section for rodeo queens?
If not, let's add let's add an evening gown competition, and you have to ride in it.
It's trick riding in an evening gown.
Yes, there we go.
In an obstacle course.
Yes. While answering
Best
questions.
of luck.
Wow, we could come up with a whole new competition here.
Yes.
I think it's similar to that.
Is it a scholarship program
It
as
is
well?
a scholarship program. Typically, a lot of the smaller or younger contests aren't, but as you get up to the higher level contests, certainly at the state and national level, yes, there are scholarships involved in that. But yes, it's they have to show proficiency of speaking. There's public speaking. There are interviews. So, private speaking, being able to converse intelligently with other people is important. So there's lots of interviews, public speaking. There is modeling.
Oh,
okay.
And usually
what
it's
involve?
Western modeling.
Okay.
And sometimes it's formal wear or sometimes it's just casual wear. And the styles, the Western styles have changed. Every
The
decade we
progression.
change.
I look back on the progression.
Oh man.
It has gone insane.
Yes. Yeah, and Western styles I think are fun to look at, the different styles.
And it's one of those you don't think is going to evolve like it has, but my goodness.
But it has. So they do modeling is a part of it because the rodeo. Every rodeo queen you can think of, right? She's beautiful.
She's got the
she can model.
perfect outfits.
Yes. So modeling is part of that. Impromptu speaking or impromptu questions are usually a part
Perfect
of
for
that as well.
podcast episodes.
Perfect for
If you want to integrate the contestants into our podcast.
Absolutely. We can do that. Yeah. We can do that. And then, of course, at the Miss America pageant, there's a talent, right? Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yep.
So for rodeo queens, their talent is horsemanship, is the ability to ride a horse. And so usually there is a horsemanship competition, and they have to usually ride their own horse, and maybe sometimes it's provided horses, or maybe they have to switch horses. Usually there's one or two patterns that they have to do horsemanship maneuvers with and show their proficiency and ability to ride a horse, control that animal, and of course look beautiful while doing it as well.
Don't look flustered.
The level, I'm just going to say it, the level of skill to do all of that while holding a flag and not falling off or hitting it on something overhead or having it pull you out of the saddle because you got the whole wind thing.
Control an animal while looking very just like
and
peaceful
smiling
and smiling
and then waving. And I'm like, nope.
Well, as you know, in Great Falls, the flag carriers do have to have some pretty good upper arm strength.
Yes. There's no way that you're going to catch me even trying.
Yes.
Like, even if I got through the delicate, ladylike experience of modeling successfully,
to get to that point where you're
it's not going to happen. The coordination level for me on a horse, holding a flag,
with the
keeping
wind.
my hat on.
Okay, well, I told you, these gals they're
Tough.
cowgirls. They're tough. They're cowgirls. That that toughness. That's part of the Western lifestyle. You, and I've got a good story for you.
Okay.
Ooh.
We had a contestant.
I hope it's
We had a
about wreck
contestant
with a
one year.
flag.
It's not.
Okay.
But bear with me. We had a contestant once that had competed both for Miss Montana and Miss Rodeo Montana. And actually, I believe
cool.
there have been a few contestants who have competed
Okay.
in both. But the one that I'm thinking of right now, her talent in the Miss Montana pageant was whip cracking.
Oh,
I mean,
there's a
crosses
talent
over,
for
I
that.
suppose.
It was amazing. It was to music,
Oh
choreographed,
my gosh.
Holy moly.
multiple whips.
Wow. That is impressive.
This is not someone I want to go toe-to-toe with.
And I will say the whip cracking is not as easy as it.
No.
It's not just, as easy as it looks.
Wow.
It's hard. And so I got to tell you, she was extremely talented.
That's
because she
impressive.
could not only ride a horse, but she also had this whip cracking routine that was just phenomenal.
Huh.
So
That's pretty cool
intimidating.
and unique. I mean, you got a lot
Very
of people
unique.
sing or play an
that's
instrument.
a Montana thing, right?
Yeah, right?
Right?
Can you imagine that on the national and the Miss America pageant?
I don't think, Miss New York is going to be a whip crack.
Well, also,
saying.
Maybe Miss Wyoming, but yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
it's just a skill set that should intimidate and scare most people.
Right. Yeah. That is
Yes.
impressive.
So
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
They should lead with
Yeah.
that on a date. Be like,
Here's the
my
deal.
hidden talent is whip cracking.
Phenomenal with a whip.
Yeah.
Not
But
in the
let
way
me-
you think.
Right. Let me clarify. That wasn't a come on. That's a
So,
yeah.
Jody, share if you can the most amazing wreck you've ever seen with someone carrying a flag.
Oh.
You've had to have seen at least one.
Or have you been in one?
Oh.
Oh,
No. Actually, I haven't really. The flag carrying wrecks, no. Usually they let go of the flag and it drops.
starts flying away.
It drops and,
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
Well, at the NFR, was it 2 years ago? one of the rodeo contestants, they do the ride out at the beginning representing all the cowboys. He had a flag incident that rendered him useless for the rest of the NFR. So like it's not
Oh my gosh.
A flag incident. I think that probably was a technical term there that you used. Flag incident.
yeah.
Yes.
You know,
I
to
want to go
keep it-
watch this now.
And I don't know if the interview with my husband, if he maybe had shared that story or not,
No.
but we're now the proud owners of that lovely horse. Too.
Oh.
Are you?
I do not believe it was the horse's issue.
Yeah.
It was probably more didn't
Well,
listen
it was-
to the flag introduction.
It was partly the horses.
Oh.
Yes.
I need to go watch this. I have no idea what you guys are talking
Yeah,
about.
okay, well, there we go. So there was that one. And yes, that was not a good incident. That's
Okay.
for
That's
sure. For
pretty
the
awful.
contestant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how does someone wait, I'll back up. Gary dropped the bomb for us that you ran the Montana Rodeo Queen competition. Are you still doing that?
I'm not still doing it, but
How long did you do it?
I did probably about, I don't know, close to 15 years, I would say.
So I'm just going to call you the executive director of the Montana Rodeo Queen competition, Your Majesty. That's the title we're going to use.
Her Royal Highness, the executive director of.
Your Highness. What does it take to get to that level?
Someone willing
Like
to
you can't, I can't just go, oh, I'm
gonna run this
for
program."
Miss Rodeo. No, I'm not. I'm going to compete for Miss Rodeo Montana.
Yeah.
Like I don't
How
think.
do you do that?
Well, and that's the, where you're involved with horses and rodeo. And then these clinics, they have clinics all over, everywhere. Every state has rodeo queen clinics. And
Is
that's
there
where
an
the
age
girls go
limit?
to learn. They
like
start.
Miss America?
Yes, there is. And, I've been away from it for a few years. So, and the years have changed. But
Hey.
I want to say like 24-ish.
Okay.
You can say whatever you want.
24, 25.
People
somewhere
can try
around
to
there.
fact check it.
Yeah. Good luck. Yeah.
Yep. What we say is our truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, the girls have to go
Okay.
and learn. They
Yeah.
learn all those things and then they study. They have to study all this stuff.
So you have to
They
go to the
know.
clinics. You can't just show
You
up
kind of need to go to the
competition day.
clinics and
Okay.
learn what it is that you to compete in all these different areas, the public speaking, the modeling, and the
But you
questions.
also, don't you have to win like a local?
you don't have to.
Oh,
No, you don't have to.
that's a misconception
it-
I have.
Yeah, I think in some states they do have that requirement, but Montana doesn't. Yeah, Montana.
Is
Open
there a
door.
Mrs. Rodeo?
There isn't. There isn't, but there's no
Could be.
reason why
So you're
there,
out of luck.
there
for,
could be someday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
My college roommate competed for Miss Rodeo Montana. She did not win, but she was here for an entire week, and this was the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and because it takes that long to do all
All
those,
the
the
things.
horsemanship and all the different judging processes that you have to do.
I was just happy that I only had to come and watch her do the one day, like the crowning day. They did the walk and did the model, and then someone got crowned. I didn't want to have to be here all week sewing things onto people and doing hair, and which was
Yeah.
helpful. I don't
And
know if
sewing-
she had a
sewing
team
clothes.
local
Yeah.
here. Oh,
No, you just abandoned her.
yeah. You're going to come to the competition. We'll have a team of people that'll help you. You don't need to bring your own people, which was helpful.
Well, I have found or I have seen in those years that I was working with the pageant directly, there were a number of girls that had competed 2 or 3 times for the title. And again, I think it goes back to those Western values. I mean, determination is one of them.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to compete for something, that competitive spirit comes out. And it's also, we're passionate about our horses. We're passionate about the West. We're passionate about wanting to do this. And so, they would come back 2 or 3 times. And I think one of my favorite stories is a gal. Her name is Callie, and she competed 3 times.
Wow.
She did not achieve her goal of winning the title, but she eventually landed a job with Montana Silversmiths,
Oh.
who, as you know, is a very well-respected, a leader in, the jewelry industry in the Western world.
Yeah.
And they sell jewelry, worldwide. And she is their events coordinator. She has worked probably, I want to say, close to 20 years for them now, and is, one of their top people in their organization now. And, I can't help but think that, a lot of the skills for her to get that job came from the things she did to prepare for the competing for Miss Rodeo Montana. And she's, she might not have achieved her goal of becoming Miss Rodeo Montana, but she is very much a representative of the Western way of life and the Western industry. And so in a way, yes, she's
a winner.
She's a winner, and she's, perfect representative.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
I love that story.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Because I think it is important for people to understand you don't have to win to be get a valuable experience out of the competition, and you certainly don't have to necessarily be a part of the competition even to have respect for what it takes to be in there. So
And those skills are so important in the rest of life, right? If you can speak well, think on your feet, all of those things. I mean, those are
maybe I should have competed.
Our podcast doesn't represent this, but no, but those are all really important skills for anything you're going to do in life.
Anything. And I think, as someone who was a pageant director, that's why you kept doing it. That's why you volunteer for that organization, because the girls are so inspiring, and what it does for them. And personally, having done it myself, I believed in it. I believed in the value that it could give any young woman, whether they achieved that goal or not. Just the process of going through it gives you so many skills that you're going to use for the rest of your life. Being able to talk to anybody, anywhere, being able to speak in front of people, answer questions on the fly.
Do a podcast sometime.
It's just, and to me, it was very inspiring, because every single one of those girls, every year a new group of girls comes along, and they're, just more and more and more talented than the ones before.
So when people go to a rodeo and they're going to sit and watch bareback riding, and then there's going to be a break and they're going to get everything set up for the next event, you're going to see that rodeo queen or the local princess of that circuit, that rodeo, run by, wave and smile. That's usually the most interaction people are going to have in the passive form of rodeo queens, unless you're attending some of the pageants and sewing things onto people. There's just that level that you're not engaged in. So what would someone not know, kind of that behind the scenes, what goes into that, that you can have a little bit newfound respect for that queen that's running through, if for some reason just holding the flag or waving and riding in a circle, it's not enough for you people, because it's enough for me. Clearly, you've never tried to ride a horse.
Well, I think that they're horsewomen. They love their horses. Any rodeo queen is going to tell you at length about their horse. They're very connected to their horses, and that passion, and so that extends to animals. Basically, like they're just very passionate about their animals, horses in particular. But, the amount of work that goes into that beforehand, before you see the girl with the flag riding out. I mean, she had to get up and feed the horse, muck out the stall, make sure you have fresh water, fresh food, brush the horse, saddle the horse, bridle the horse, make sure he's warmed up. There's just so much that goes into that behind the scenes to get ready for that one quick ride through that
So
people
short.
don't. People a lot of times don't realize. And, really at a rodeo, like at Great Falls Rodeo, for example, the rodeo queen, she may have a rodeo slack performance, which is just the contestants that aren't up in the actual performance. there's a slack performance. So she may have to ride and help chase out stock during that performance. Then she may have a luncheon to go to. She may make a hospital visit or a nursing home visit or a school visit. She may have a kiddie rodeo to put on in the hour or two before the rodeo starts to interact with the kids that are coming to the rodeo. And then, of course, she's got to get her own horse ready and get on her horse to prepare for that, again, that girl on the horse carrying the flag that you see come in there. So she may have had a full day of activities before the rodeo even starts.
And we don't have it at the Big Sky Pro Rodeo Roundup, which happens at the end of July-ish.
Correct.
But some places have mutton busting, and we've discussed this.
We do have mutton busting.
Oh, see how uninformed
We do have,
I am.
and the queens all help with the
I
mutton
was
busting.
just gonna say.
They make sure the little tyke that falls off the sheep gets
Gets up in a
stuck.
hug.
up and waves at the crowd and gets back in line and goes the right direction. Yeah.
Now, my former co-host, Maddie, when I did the episode and I taught her about rodeos, which was entertaining to say the least. She asked a lot of questions and I'm like, I never even thought to figure out what that actually means. We talked about slack. I did not probably explain at all what that was in that episode. So thank you, Jody, for handling that one for me. But one of the things she said, which I found funny and immediately said, don't ever say that again.
So we're repeating it.
Yes, we are. We'll see what Jody's
Yeah, there we
response
go.
is.
Okay.
She said she wanted to be a buckle bunny.
Oh.
See, and that was my exact response. And for people who aren't seeing this on video, there was a grimace. It was like, "Ooh, we don't use that term." To speak highly of someone, you don't use that term.
When I did the Yellowstone season premiere episode, there were young women cast as buckle bunnies that were supposed to, they were. So if you watch season 5 premiere, they're the girls who were hanging out with all of the bunkhouse boys dancing with them. That, there's not really a good connotation.
It's kind of a negative term.
Yes, it has negative connotations. And I think, the whole Yellowstone thing, that really has brought a resurgence in all of anything Western, but I think also in rodeo queens and stuff. But I really believe you have on two sides of the coin, and there would be rodeo queens on the one side and probably buckle bunnies on the other side of the coin.
They're not one and the same. No.
So until you know the difference, folks, don't use that term.
Don't call them that.
Don't use that term unless you know what it means.
Rodeo queens do have buckles.
Yes. Not buckle bunnies.
But that's not the term to use for them.
Yes.
In general.
Right. Yeah.
So
there
could be a crossover
subjective.
once in a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah. Way to education on that term.
Yep.
That's good.
That's what we're here for, to educate folks.
So we talk some about just what's involved in the day of maybe on these rodeos, but it is really busy. A lot of time on the road, from my understanding. Talk about kind of what the crowning year looks like for these queens, like how often they travel, if they're doing it on their own, like
have
what
you ever
that looks
stripped
like.
someone of their crown?
Oh,
no,
scandalous!
Sorry,
gosh.
I feel like this is Young and the Restless.
They became a buckle bunny, so we stripped them of the crown.
We need to know these things.
That could happen on Yellowstone.
There is no seedy underbelly. That's all we're trying to bring to light here. Asking the questions, finding
exposing
out
the truth.
Ingham, that's not what happens.
Well, they do travel a lot, and I would say especially in Montana, A, because we're such a big state, and B, because, we are a very Western state. We have a lot of rodeos in Montana. Mm-hmm. So they're on the road a lot of times. And then, of course, it's not just rodeos. There are local community festivals that they go to, riding parades and speak to the local civic organizations or visit a school. talk to some kids, put on a little kiddie rodeo. Something
When
like
they're
that.
crowned Miss Rodeo Montana, does the pageant itself say you must attend this many rodeos, you must do this many speaking engagements, this is what you are
usually
not
don't-
allowed to do?
You don't have to tell them there's you must do this because they want to.
Okay.
If anything, you kind of have to say,
Yeah.
probably 3
Rein them in,
rodeos
if
in
you
one
will.
day is probably a
Too
bit
much.
much. Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how enthusiastic they are. Is they want to do everything. They, you have 1 year to accomplish all of the things that you want to accomplish, and so most of them want to go to as many places as they can and do as many really cool things that as particularly a state title holder, you get asked to do a lot of really unique things that probably that a lot of things that the public would not get to do. Maybe it's ride in a helicopter or just some really unique experiences
Yeah.
that you probably will never get the opportunity to do again. So yeah, they want to do as much of those as they positively can cram into a year. And then as a state title holder, they get invited to other larger rodeos throughout the nation too.
Oh.
And so it's a thing. It's a thing. All the rodeo queens, they invite other rodeo queens to their state to go to whatever, the premier rodeo is.
Cheyenne Frontier Days
In
if it's
their states.
Wyoming.
Yeah, there you go. Cheyenne would be one. I mean, there's
Pendleton
every
Roundup.
every state kind of has, their
The one
the one or two that
crowning
they
jewel.
invite all the other state queens.
Do they go across
To come.
national borders like Calgary Stampede or anything?
They do
Okay.
occasionally too. Yep. And as well, the Canadian title holder comes down to a lot of the rodeos down here as well.
Is there a national competition? Does Miss Rodeo Montana become Miss
Yes.
Rodeo
Yes, there's
America?
a national there's a Miss Rodeo America pageant, and all the states send a representative to that. or
Do all
most-
the states have representatives?
now there are actually quite a few on the East Coast that never had before that now are starting to send. And
cool.
there are quite a few rodeos now throughout the East Coast as well. So it is becoming more of a thing back east. Of course, it's mostly prevalent in the West, but yes, and that's been going on since at least the 50s.
Oh,
Cool.
Yeah.
so sometime.
yeah, a while.
Little time.
Yeah.
Enough to-
Montana has never won.
What?
Montana has never won.
This
Really?
seems a little rigged.
It does.
Yeah.
I know. You
How
would
is
think we would be
Montana-
shoo-ins,
yeah,
right?
Right?
Well, especially since one contestant, one state. How are we not?
How are we not one of the top? Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
the crap?
I know.
Did
But
you?
there have been some close ones.
Okay.
There have been
Has Wyoming
quite a
won
few runners-up.
the national?
Yes, Wyoming has one.
This is this
Yeah,
is
that's bothersome.
nothing against you, Wyoming, because
But we're Montana.
we have twice as many people as you. Again, still just one representative, but I feel maybe we've been slighted.
We, I don't know. We might need to start a button campaign.
Yeah.
I'll do more than that.
Just gonna rig it.
Find out who is in charge.
And I think not because we haven't had, qualified or great applicants. Because I personally, I've seen a lot of gals that I just, was certain this
is gonna be
wow,
the year.
This is
Yeah.
going to be the year. This gal's got it all, but
Still nothing.
Did you get to compete? Did you
I
go
did
to the
compete
national
too.
level?
I
Okay.
did compete too.
What was
yes.
that experience like?
It was so long ago. I really, I have either blocked it from my memory or I can't remember
Yeah.
that far back. But
Yeah.
it was different. It was, a little bit different then. Not only the clothing, the clothing was a lot different
Yeah.
then. I will tell you that much. But it was before, social media and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you didn't, when I went there, I didn't know. I maybe knew one other. One
yeah.
other
Sure. Oh,
state
yeah. That
queen.
would be a
Now,
lot different, wouldn't
I
it?
mean, before they're even crowned, they know every
Every-
other title holder, and they chat
Yeah.
and talk back and forth all
Yeah.
the time. So there's, it's kind of more of a sorority now, and whereas back then, I felt like I went into a little blind.
Are the nationals always held in the same location?
They have been for quite some time in Las Vegas.
Is
They
it
were in
done before
Oklahoma
the
City.
NFR?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were in Oklahoma City when the national finals was in Oklahoma City too. It's also been held in Dallas, Texas. Was it in Dallas? Well, now I can't remember.
Well, there was a year when the NFR was in Dallas. So.
Yeah, well, it was.
We believe you. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So here in Montana, historically, I don't know what has happened in the last 10, 15 years. I'll just come out and say that. But up until my recent knowledge, Miss Rodeo Montana was held in Great Falls, and it was the week leading up to PRCA Circuit Finals Rodeo in January. So that would have been under your reign.
Yes, and
Your
kind
Majesty.
of overlapped with the pageant, with the circuit finals, which made it fun because, everyone's in town for the rodeo and lots of family and friends. And that makes for a great event because lots of attendance. People
Is
to go.
that still when it is held, the pageant competition, or is it held in the summer now?
I believe it is changing now.
Oh, okay.
And one of the reasons why is because the national pageant is in December.
Oh.
Most other states had adopted a model where their pageant was held sometime in the summertime, and then she was selected then, and then January she was crowned the state title holder. So that gave those women 6 months or so, 3 to 6 months to really prepare and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And then they could, serve their year of reign. And at the end of their year of reign, they went to compete for Miss Rodeo America.
Oh.
And so Montana, for a long time, was at a little bit of a disadvantage because
You were crowned and hit the ground running.
crown, and if you didn't really know if you were going to get it or not, and then you got it, well, you better put a plan together
Oh my
fast
gosh,
because you had to get a wardrobe lined up and lots of training and preparation for the national pageant in addition to doing your year of reign. So it did put us at a little bit of a disadvantage. I think they are moving to that model where they select them earlier and then they start in January. So see, that could have had some
A little bit of a stressful, everything happening all at once moment.
Yeah.
Not that our cowgirls can't handle it, but
No, but if
it's a lot of work.
If it's
And then
not
you
in the
need your
same
roommate to
timeframe.
sew clothes and
yeah.
Gotta get
They're
that
like, no, I'm
secured.
done. I'm done with you. You won. We're over.
Do you remember you were talking about how these women get to experience some unique things because they have the title, riding in helicopters, things like that, as an example. Do you remember anything like a unique experience you got to do?
Well, not that I got to do, but another one that comes to mind was for a few years in Montana, our title holder was kind of as a guest / representative of the Department of Ag, I believe, when they would go to Japan.
Oh, cool.
And got to go with the delegation
Yeah.
to Japan to talk ag.
Yeah. Neat.
With them. And so for a few select ladies, that was
That's kind of cool.
quite an
That is
amazing
neat. Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I walk around the city just wanting to have privilege. And,
This is a whole other podcast again.
Got to get you a crown.
well, we've had this conversation of like, what kind of a check do I have to write in order to get like the special chair at the bar or a reserved seat somewhere or to have privileges when I walk in and people go, hey,
Like, cheers.
I don't really want to put in the work. I just want to walk around like I'm important.
That's fair.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm thinking the crown
This
would do
spot's
that.
saved for.
Yeah. The crown would do that, but there's a lot of work to get the crown.
You just wear your own, and then someone be like, "Oh, what? Why do you have a crown?"
What crown?
You
well,
don't
you could try
know,
that.
and then I'd walk away.
You could try that.
Could see
You
what
could
happens.
try. Just walk around with a crown, and
I have one at home.
that doesn't surprise me.
Just kidding. It's really pretty.
Jody's like, oh, these imposters.
It doesn't look like a rodeo queen.
Is it like a dollar store crown?
No, it is really a nice one.
Okay.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
I want privilege.
Wedding veil crown. Is
I did wear it on my wedding day.
Oh,
There
okay.
you go.
okay.
It's very pretty. I like it. I'll wear it one day for a podcast episode.
Perfect. Yeah, you should have. Just don't. We'll just pick a really random guest to choose to unveil that.
Oh, yes. Do you still have your crown from
my
when you
gosh.
were Miss Rodeo Washington?
Oh gosh, no, I don't think I do.
Oh, man.
No,
What happened to it?
no,
I'd
I think
probably
it
take it back.
got passed to the next girl.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't get any type of commemorative crown.
No. You have a buckle.
I would
though.
want a crown.
The girls keep their buckles.
Okay.
Traditionally, that's what they keep.
That's
but
probably
the
what-
crown, yeah. So that
There
the
can't
crown
be
doesn't-
imposters.
end up at the bar.
Yeah.
One night or
Rebecca doesn't end up with it.
yes.
Walk into a bar with a sphere of influence that I'm
Where I
not
was
allowed to
going with
have and go, what is it going to take
Yeah.
for me to own that crown?
Yeah, maybe that is a good idea that it gets passed along.
Well, you wouldn't want to have a new one every time, but
Yeah.
getting a
It is kind of one of those unwritten rules too that a rodeo queen, if whether it's a kid or a
An
grown
adult.
male kid that says, "Let me put your crown on," you don't.
Nope.
It's
Protect
your
the
crown.
Yeah.
Nobody else wears it.
You're
but
going to
you.
have to act with a little bit of dignity and respect
Mm-hmm.
for yourself and others.
Yes.
It's what they teach you at the competitions.
How you got to the crown is you have that. Yeah, have that ability. Yeah.
What do you think was your favorite fashion trend for
Ooh.
rodeo queens while you were pageant director?
I like that question.
Wow. Well, there was kind of I went through a lot of transition years. So I think early on it moved from. Do you remember like prairie skirts?
Yes.
Do you remember
Yep.
prairie skirt? Okay, so
I remember those.
So then it transitioned from prairie skirts to leather skirts, and then from leather skirts to like full leather dresses,
Oh,
Yeah.
and they
okay.
became quite ornate and beautiful, and
Yes.
then all kinds of embellishment and beautiful, sometimes with a train or not a train or neat sleeves or I think for me that was. Because they
more
were just so
glamorous,
beautiful. They were
yeah.
very glamorous. It was such a big change from the prairie skirts.
Yes.
Let's face it. It was beautiful. But I also I still think it's just an iconic Western look. Like so back maybe the like 60s, 70s, the suits. And actually
yeah.
in the early 80s when I started being a rodeo queen, I had suits then too.
Oh.
And you'd had everything. You had the gloves,
Yep.
and you had
Oh.
a scarf, and you had a suit, and it was all one color.
Yeah.
It was a
I
matching,
remember those.
and they were usually polyester, but
Yep.
they were starting to do other fabrics. I think at
Yeah.
one point I had a velvet
Ooh.
jacket and a sequin jacket. But I mean, looking back to like the 60s and the 70s, though, that look, that classic look
Yeah.
with the matching colored hat.
Oh.
I mean, actually, I think that's pretty stunning too.
Well, and it is a little timeless.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Is love of rhinestones and sequins a must for these outfits?
Most I have
They're
found
fairly bejeweled.
most rodeo queens don't go anywhere without their rhinestones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sequins.
My sewing technique was really sequin filled, making sure I did.
Yeah.
They're not easy
There,
to
you'll
sew.
you'll find the odd rodeo queen that is more of a naturalist and likes the more of the buckskins, browns,
Yeah.
a little plainer. But I'd say 98% of them are.
And you were a
Like
rhinestone
I was
queen.
more of the yes, yeah.
Rhinestone and sparkle.
It's almost the reason to do it.
Right.
I mean,
It's an
because
excuse to
honestly,
wear that.
I show up tomorrow in a full sequin outfit. People are going to wonder what's
Like,
going on.
what? But if Jody shows up, you're like,
Oh,
rodeo queen.
This rodeo.
That's true. It takes
You
the
know-
right person to pull that off.
And I do have some sequins at home, and
Yeah.
I'll wear it one day, and
If
you
you
people
love
will be
horses and you love sequins, I mean,
There you go.
It's kind of it's in your blood.
Did you ever have to have a horse like that you had to like get used to all of the sequins and sparkle and shininess?
No,
Because I feel like some horses
No.
like don't.
no,
love
not really.
that.
And you know, for parades, when you do a parade,
mm-hmm.
it's also traditional. You have a really nice bouquet of flowers
Ooh.
behind your
Oh.
saddle,
Mm-hmm.
which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's surprising, but I really have never seen a horse freak out to that either,
That's
which you would
amazing.
think
Yeah.
could happen, but
Mhm.
no, they seem to.
Yeah, and parades
Be
are just
okay with
full of
that.
people. If I
It's
was a
lot.
horse,
It's
I'd
a
be
lot
like,
for a
"Mm-mm,
horse. Not every horse it can be a
Not
parade horse.
Not every
no.
horse is a parade horse.
No.
I'm done with
yeah.
this."
Well, and little inside tip, you know, those who are listening are looking for a great bomb-proof kids horse,
Ooh.
a rodeo queen horse.
Yeah.
Well, it would
Is-
have to be. Yeah.
Kind of seen and done a lot of things,
Mhm.
so they're usually
Do you-
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Do you and Gary have one for sale?
And I was like, is a pitch coming here? Yeah.
And you can get yours.
When you visit Great Falls, go home with a rodeo horse.
But there,
We can hook you.
Yeah.
we talked with Gary quite a bit about different kinds of horses and how you do have to spend time with the horse to figure out what they're going to be good at, because you can't just pick a random horse and go,
Right.
okay, we're going to go do
Yeah, we're
do
going
a
to go down a parade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
same as
Right.
let's run some barrels. No,
Yeah.
lady,
Right.
I'm not going to do that. So there's a lot of work to getting the horse to be comfortable with you, and then
Yeah.
doing, trusting you to do some of the stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
And that
parades.
goes into part of the whole, you know, for the parents who have girls who want to go into rodeo queening, you know, it is important to find the right horse, because you don't want something bad to happen.
Yeah.
And you don't want to terrify your child either
Yeah.
if something bad happens. So it is important to get a really good, solid horse if you think she wants to do something like that, because you want one that's going to be, like you say, good in a parade, not, unflappable.
Right.
If there's a stiff wind blowing in Great Falls and the flags are flying and
Right.
there's a marching band behind you, you want a horse that's still going to walk down the street.
Yeah, be
There's a lot
like,
of horses.
that's nothing.
Yeah. So
I've
horses that
seen
don't
worse.
like just flapping flags
I-
alone.
It's
so,
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's
Did
right.
you barrel race?
I did not.
No. Okay.
I did not. I showed horses, and I was in 4-H and did many years of 4-H, and showed and did play days and stuff. But no, never barrel raced. I just that was not.
Did you do the
not something I was
the
interested in?
jumping? The
No,
okay,
no.
I don't.
And I did not do trick riding
dressage.
either. So there we go.
Hey, just getting our ground level done here.
I did both English and Western in
Okay.
showing. So,
Same with my friend.
Did every class I could, enter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanting to do everything there was to do with a horse. So.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite rodeo event, or are you just into pickup men?
Oh, she
just likes to watch the
You
pickup
have
man.
been waiting to ask that one.
It's written on the back of my card. No, it's not. You can see.
Make joke about pickup man. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite
Well,
rodeo event?
When you're married to a pickup man, I think you naturally are going to gravitate towards the bronc riding, the
Yeah.
classic event of rodeo, as it's called.
Yeah.
I guess, yes, I enjoy watching the bucking horses and in particular saddle bronc riding.
Do you ever get
Bareback riding.
nervous for Gary during those events? Or are you like, it's what he signed up for. He's fine.
He's a big
Because I
boy.
would kind of be like that, I think. Like, he's fine.
I don't. A lot of people have asked me that. Do you get nervous? Do you worry? And no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. He, that's his thing. That's what he does. That's what he's always done. And, usually if there's a situation that happens that looks like it could get, this could get hairy.
Yeah.
I'm always like, well, get in there and get it, Gary.
You're right.
Like
Figure it out.
he
That's
knows
what you're there
what to
for.
do.
Yeah.
He knows what to do, and I have that confidence in him that
Yeah.
he knows. He's done it for so long. He's
Yeah.
seen just about every thing that can happen. But it's an animal when you're working with an animal and a contestant and a different rodeo arena every weekend. Stuff happens. There's just sometimes there's just weird things that happen.
So I don't know if you listeners have figured it out yet, but there's a rodeo coming up June 16th, 17th
Yes.
or 17th, 18th
I think
in
so.
Belt. It's like the first summer rodeo for our area. So 2-day rodeo. You get to see queens.
It's a great rodeo.
I've never been.
It's really good.
Oh, it's a
They've
fun
got a
one.
wonderful small arena. You really can get right up close to the action.
Yeah.
They do a really great job in Belt.
The Dusty Glico bull riding challenge coming up in June as well, isn't
Right.
it?
Yeah. Like the first weekend, I think.
Yeah. Something like that. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but yeah,
did
in
not
June
know that.
Right.
at the Expo Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had people reach out. They're excited to come down and watch that.
So, and it is one of the things when people come to visit Great Falls, they're like, oh, I want to go to a rodeo. And we've had this conversation, rodeo and a powwow. Like they just go hand in hand.
It's a Montana thing to do.
Yeah. But they are not available anytime, anywhere that you want
Right.
to see them. Yeah.
We can't just put one on
Like,
because you're here.
You're here. Right. And they don't happen. They happen often, but they're not,
Like
it's not
a guarantee.
every weekend.
Like a sale
Yeah.
at Herberger's
Right.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which happened
Good
all
one.
the time.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So if someone comes out here, they're drawn to, the Western way of life. They want to come here. They want to experience the rodeo. What do you say? Like, what should people prepare themselves for? What should people watch for? What do you hope people take away
think,
from that?
I say immerse yourself in it. Go to the Western store.
I was going to say,
Make
okay,
sure
are
you
you
get
in? Are you into that?
Get all in. Get all
the-
in.
okay.
Yes.
Go see
Yeah.
Mike at Hoagland's.
And
Get all dressed up.
We don't care if you wear your hat backwards.
Okay.
I mean, get a hat. Get a cowboy
Yeah.
hat.
If you want
for Pete's
fringe,
sake.
get fringe. If you
If
want
you-
sequins,
Exactly.
get sequins. If you don't want any of that, just get a t-shirt.
And as a former rodeo queen, I got to say, fringe and sequins are
the way
to
in.
go.
They are in. Yes.
Bejeweled pockets. On
So
the butt.
yes, go all in. Immerse yourself in the whole experience. If you can, meet the rodeo queen, meet the rodeo clown. Talk to some people. Just say hi. Tell them where you're from, because they enjoy. So the queens travel to lots of rodeos, right? But then also the rodeo clown, the bullfighters, the pickup men. I mean, they travel to a lot of rodeos. They, for the most part, love talking to people and sharing experiences. So, yeah, if you're from out of town, just come up, say hi. Tell
And
us
if you
about yourself.
have questions about rodeo,
Yeah, ask.
it's
Yeah.
really easy to identify who the queen is
Sure is.
Right.
at the event. And go just walk up and go, I think you can answer my questions. And they'll go, more than likely I can.
Yeah.
Well, and more than likely, you might even get a behind the scenes tour, or, hey, come
Yeah.
on back. Let me introduce you to some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or what have you done? What have you seen? Let me point out some other places that would be great for you to go to if you want to see more of the West. So,
And they're like the easiest athletes to follow.
because of the jingle jangle of the spurs, or
No,
Literally follow. Yeah.
because they're going to the next rodeo.
Yeah.
And so you can just follow them to the next
Follow the
rodeo.
circuit, yeah.
exactly.
But you get better access than, let's say, an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're following him around, you're not going to really
You
be
might
able
be
to.
described more as a stalker and
Yep.
asked to leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stadiums are a lot smaller
Yes.
that rodeos in. So,
Well,
So-
that is neat, because you can get
yeah.
easy access. You can talk to people, meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to embark on a life of stalking, rodeo's a
Rodeo's
great
the way
place
to go.
start.
Yeah.
No, don't be a stalker. That's weird.
Be
unless
a
you
fan.
just be a fan and
Yeah.
show up to all the rodeos. So you got a lot of options in Great Falls this summer for that. Not only do we have Big Sky Pro Rodeo Roundup, we got the one in Belt, we've got the one in Augusta, which I think is the Montana's oldest or largest one-day rodeo. It's one of those things. So
Well, there's a lot of stories about
Everyone's got one.
back in the day in Augusta, how wild it was.
lots of stories.
And it is still wild. I mean, it's kind of the
Wild
whole
West.
two blocks of town fills with people.
Yeah.
The myths are true.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Augusta.
Yeah,
Stay in Great Falls.
Exactly. Exactly.
well, there's nowhere to stay in Augusta.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
So you have to.
Yeah.
maybe charter a bus.
There you go. There you go. Do it safely.
So make your trip to Great Falls, attend a rodeo. You've learned more than you probably thought you would listening to this episode. More behind the scenes stuff that you need to know about rodeo and rodeo queens and how much fun that is and what kind of commitment it is and that it's okay to wear rhinestones if you're not a rhinestone person.
Yeah. Just go for it.
Just do it. Jody, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you. It was fun.
It was really fun.
Don't you mean Your Majesty?
I mean, Your Majesty.
Yeah.
I'll take my chastising out in the lobby when we're done.
How dare you?
So, folks, if you need help planning your next trip to our wonderful community, you can do that at visitgreatfallsmontana.org. You could call Shannon at 406-761-4436.
Or Rebecca.
You can email us at information@visitgreatfalls.org, or you could listen to other podcast episodes, which are just full of information
A lot
on
of 'em.
what to do experiencing here. 120 some episodes, plenty to dig into.
Plenty of options, including Gary's, which is one of our most popular episodes, actually.
Yeah. He's a pickup man and Jody's husband. So, it's a family thing around here.
Is this our first husband-wife, like that both of them have been on our podcast?
Separately, I would have to say yes. We've
Okay.
had husband-wife teams that have come in and done an episode, like Matt's and Jolene have come in and done shows about Kellergeist.
Yeah.
And, so we've had husband-wife teams, but not like separate.
Their own separate episodes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well,
Yeah.
wow, that's quite an honor.
Another title for you.
Well, when you each have such a depth of knowledge in
Yeah.
different areas, that's what happens.
Exactly.
So, folks, thanks for listening. We've had a blast. And until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy, beautiful face here in Great Falls, we hope you're creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you might be. See you soon.
We're No Damn Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.